Alright everybody, this is the first video on how to start looking for UL assemblies. So go to ul.com. Once you get there, scroll down to Online Certifications Directory. Now once you get that open, it took me a long time to figure out this interface, but luckily you're watching this video. So go to the drop down and go to fire resistance rated system and products. Alright, now that you're here, alright, we want to take a look at that table that we originally started with, because that's going to kind of get us started, right? So to look at that table, let's go ahead and look at our fire resistance ratings, and then here's guide information. Click on that, and then here's our table. It's a lot to get there, so I recommend setting up a shortcut. Alright, so what are we going to look for? Let's look for a metal stud chipboard wall, 2 hours. Let's say that it has to be 6 inch. Alright, so we're going to go down to our wall and partition, and then we're going to come over and we're going to see metal stud, gypsum board, lath, and or plaster. Right, so this is the one we want. Now we can actually click on this and it'll take us to all the search results, hundreds of pages of them. Right, we can do it that way, or we can do a hard search, but let's look at this way for now. So now that we've got hundreds of results, we want to refine our search. Right? So let's select 2 hour rating and see what that does for us. It's taking it down by half. Okay. Now let's search for 6 inch. Sometimes you're going to have to play around with this, because if I were to type in 6 inch written out, you're not going to get any results. But if you come in and you actually use the inches mark, you will get some results. Now we're down to 5 pages. Now, let's say that we know that we want to use Clark Dietrich studs, right? So let's put in a keyword, Clark Dietrich. Search that way. Now we're down to 2 pages. So this is all about filtering, knowing what you want and filtering. Now if you don't know what you want and you're just browsing, sometimes the book can be better. However, the book, the UL book, paper copy, is going to be out of date potentially. So if you know it's up to date, then great, but this online database is always up to date, because I've actually had instances where I've picked something out of the book was probably 10 years old maybe, and realized that after the job started that this was no longer an accepted UL listing or assembly. Alright, so now that we've actually refined our results, let's take a look at what we have. So you can actually click on them and start reading through, find out what you want. Everybody knows the U419, at least all the ADMs and DMs in the room. Alright, so let's take a look at another search. So let's look at column. We want a sprayed fireproofing. Alright, so let's look for that. So we know it's an X7, but we can go back to our guide info. We could say, alright, column, it's going to be an X, and we want it to be sprayed fire resistance material, spray fireproofing. Alright, so we're going to click on that. And the reason we know it's an X7 is because we're in the X column, and or the X row, and the number 7 through 899. So you could technically put in X8, or you can click on this and it'll give you all the results, and you start filtering from there. Alright, so refine. We want a 2-hour fire resistance rating. So that brings those down pretty well. And now let's say that we have a specific column type. Let's say that it's tube steel, or so here's something that, again, nomenclature, you might put in HSS, and there you go, you got something. Or you could put in tube. Now you actually got 3 pages of results. So sometimes you have to try a few different things, make sure that they work properly. Then you can just go through, read, find out which one that you like. Alright, let's go back. Let's do one more that's a little bit more difficult. Let's look at, we have a steel joist, and we actually want to protect it with, let's say, some type of exposed grid system. Alright, so let's click on that. So again, 5 pages of results. Kind of got to know what we want, at least to get started. So we know it's 2 hours. We're going to have lights, diffusers, things in there. So we want to say lights. Let's narrow down the results. Let's say diffusers. And there we go. We're left with 4 results just by drilling down for that information. And if we don't like what we find out of all 4 of them, again, we can go back and refine a different way. So that's a quick tutorial on how to go about searching by using the table. Now let's say that we wanted to start out just using a number. So we know that we want the U, and we know that it's in 4 category. So we want to put asterisks, and then it's going to give us all of the U4s, all the U400s, and then again filter from there. And you can do that with anything. You can do the X7 with an asterisk. It's going to give you the same results. Just different ways of searching once you get a little bit more used to the system.